What is going on, everybody? It is episode 418 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Before we started the show, we had some barbecue food, and I'm really feeling nourished and energized, and like I'm not going to die of starvation and exhaustion anymore.
That's
Do you
good.
feel the same?
Yeah, it's fine. Like just enough to not be like carbohydrate dead right now. So we're good. We're good.
Good.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about Stephen Amell, the star of Arrow and now on the Starz television show Heels. He is in deep doo-doo with the Actors Union and everybody else that works in Hollywood because he had the temerity to speak out and say, look, I support my union, but I don't like strikes. I don't like striking. And of course, they're raking him over the coals. We're going to go over some of the more...
He's like, I'll strike, but I'm not going to enjoy myself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they're mad at?
Basically, it was an unbelievably tame post, which he is now being called a racist, a sexist, a misogynist, an everything under the sun, because people who live on Twitter are mentally ill. They're mentally ill.
He's at war with the beehive.
Yeah.
He hates dogs.
He's a bad person.
He's just a meanie, okay?
He's a meanie head. Plus, he's a straight white male, so he's got that working
He's a
against him
meanie
right
poopy
now.
head.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Meghan Markle, who seems to be losing friends by the truckload out there in Hollywood. The Beckhams, the Clooneys. She's going to have to go hang out with Stephen Amell soon if she's not careful.
Right.
Right. We're going to talk about her because people are upset at her. I also want to talk a little bit about these. There's some really funny comments in one of these articles talking about why they think Suits is so successful now. So we'll talk about that. Successful now, years after it's been pulled off.
It's having
the air.
Resurgence. Yeah. Everyone is watching Suits. It's back in a big way.
So we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about a vegan influencer who has passed away from starvation. It's a very, very scary, very, very sad story, but we're going to discuss that. We're also going to talk about... We've got a joint topic here. Barbenheimer has upset everybody. Warner Brothers Discovery has upset the Japanese with a set of memes that they are not happy about. Also, Barbie the film is causing people to break up because it's 2023 and that's a thing. So we're going to talk about that.
Division.
It is. It's going to be great. We're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if you are ready, we will get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, then let's get started, shall we? First things first, we got some good news here. Remember that Canadian truckers protest last year? Taylor Swift is not on board, apparently, because she is paying her truck drivers, the ones driving trucks for the Eras tour, she's giving them a $100,000 bonus.
She doesn't want them to strike.
Yeah,
that's why.
Very smart on her part. So she's sharing the wealth from her wildly successful Eras tour. You know what I figure it is? She's like, I'm about to become a billionaire. I guess I can give $5 million away to the people who make it work.
I'm surprised she's not a billionaire yet. I would have thought she was getting there.
Yeah. Well, she's going to be by the
Selena
end of this
Gomez,
tour.
I think, multiplied her net worth from like 80 million to 800 million in the span of like only a couple of years.
From what?
From her beauty line, which I don't understand because I don't know anybody who cares about buying celebrity makeup products.
Isn't that why one of the Kardashians is or all of the Kardashians are such a big deal?
Kylie is a billionaire because of her personal branding and stuff like that, but the rest of them, yeah, I mean, they have their own different
so people buy
grifts. But I just don't understand because I feel like there was this trend where you had to buy all the makeup in the 2010s.
Yeah.
And then everybody stopped buying it and no one cares anymore.
Yeah. Well,
but she's like on her way to becoming a billionaire off of it. I think Taylor Swift is just showing us that she's a true populist.
$100,000 bonus to all of the truck drivers in her convoy. That
about 5 million
total. Yeah.
Total. Okay.
Has anybody ever seen like an Eras tour truck show up? Like, have you ever seen like an Eras tour truck
She's
drive
not
by?
coming here.
Well, I'm saying, but she could have driven through.
She's not driving through the sticks.
Oh, well, you never know. Oh, guys, by the way, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there, and then I will do my very best to get back on topic. Sometimes it's funny to watch me struggle at that. I'm not always the best at that. So
also, Mark Zuckerberg has taken his daughters to see Taylor Swift on the Eras tour. And he got weirdly into it, and I feel I feel happy for Mark Zuckerberg, at least for having the appearance of a happy home life.
To be kind of normal.
Yeah, while Jeff Bezos is off doing his thing with his weird robotic-looking girlfriend.
His sex bot.
Yeah,
girlfriend.
his sex bot GF. Mark Zuckerberg is just living his wholesome life. He seems to, enjoy his family and have a nice marriage. And he was getting into the spirit of it. He put like these gemstones stickers on his face.
See, he
checked 13 emails on the way to the concert because get it? It's Taylor Swift's lucky number.
Here's the thing. Like, you can ask your dad will always be your champion. Your dad will wear, like, if you ask your dad to wear pink to see Barbie, your dad will wear pink to see Barbie. Your husband might not wear pink to see Barbie, or your boyfriend might not wear pink to see Barbie. Your dad might wear a Taylor Swift shirt or put the 13 thing,
He's wearing pink right there.
Yeah, so your dad might take you to see Taylor Swift and get into the spirit. I don't know if your boyfriend or your husband is going to. Your dad is always your champion if you're a young lady, right?
But he bought the tickets. He clearly wanted to go.
I also find it funny how, like, at a certain point, because they were like up top, right? They're like in like a special skybox where they're sitting. Like, that's not where you want to be. Don't you want to be closer?
Yeah, that I feel was a choice he made more for himself. Mm-hmm. But at least they're not the people in the back of the whole setup of the Eras Tour never made sense to me. All of the stage design. It's so that half of the people in a circular arena can't see anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then there's no... I mean,
Did they not think about how idiotic that was?
They also block out a lot of those seats back there. So you can't sit back there.
Okay, but still, there are plenty of seats you can just sit there and not see anything that's happening.
Yeah.
Why would you pay to do that?
Yeah. I don't know, man, but good for him. Take care. Like, it's very hard work to pretend that you're not a reptile. Faking being human takes a lot of work, takes a lot of research, and he's done a very, very good job.
He's dedicated
of blending
to the bit.
of blending in with the rest of us. He's doing a pretty good job. See, look at that. She looks so happy. All right, let's talk about Spy Kids, because somebody shared this with me the other day. They're making a new Spy Kids because Hollywood doesn't have any new ideas. I'll be honest, I don't think I ever saw any of the Spy Kids movies, but I know that a lot of people have a very strong soft spot for those first ones. I was really into the
Spy Kids movies. The human thumbs really scared me as a kid, but
okay.
I really liked Spy Kids.
I have to admit, like, I know a lot of people have a good soft spot for that because those were.
But I'm confused because that was a Disney property, right? And now it's streaming on Netflix in September.
I don't know if it's a Disney property. Was it?
I thought it was.
Likely.
At least if you had asked me yesterday, I would say that was a Disney original, right?
I don't think so. I mean,
or at least Disney.
I don't remember
licensed it.
Maybe Disney licensed it. But yeah, it says Robert Rodriguez, who created the original of the franchise. I think that's why so many people have such a strong love for those originals, because it was a Robert Rodriguez film. And it's Zachary Levi and Gina Rodriguez. And I'm almost ashamed to say, as the host of a pop culture podcast, I'm like, that doesn't look like the girl from Fast and the Furious. And remember that Gina Rodriguez and Michelle Rodriguez are not the same person. Mm-hmm. Gina Rodriguez is from Jane the Virgin. And Zachary Levi, what I think Zachary Levi is he was great in Chuck. He was fine in Shazam. I think he's going to become kind of a little bit like what Ryan Reynolds is. Like, really? Ryan Reynolds in the Adam Project. I mean, not at the same level of success,
Isn't
right?
he a little bit too...
religious?
Not religious, but just, vaccine skeptic, yes. A little bit too Daily Wire adjacent.
I think he's going to get those roles, though. Like, we need a non-threatening guy, but he's also kind of cool looking. Look, he's got facial hair.
So he's not exactly a panicky male lead.
No, but literally, that's the funny thing is that's literally who he was in Chuck. His job in that show is to be a panicky male lead.
And that is who he was in Shazam, but you get a pass because you're a kid.
Yes, exactly. So he actually does it, but he does wholesome well.
When the children of the world's greatest secret agents unwittingly help a powerful game developer unleash a computer virus that gives him control of all technology, they must become spies themselves to save their parents and the world. So they're saving their parents from like a failed mission.
You know who else I could have seen?
These kids just seem super young, though.
Yeah, they
like
do.
Maybe when I was a kid watching it, I thought that they were, older than they were.
Yeah.
But these kids look like kindergartners.
And who was it was Alexa Panavega and Daryl Sabara or whatever in the first ones.
Yes.
And Alexa Panavega went and got religious and moved to Hawaii.
Daryl Sabara ended up being Meghan Trainor's husband, who she constantly talks about their sex life.
And he's probably just like, could you please stop doing that? Like,
I mean,
I remember him because he got leprosy in an episode of House.
I remember him because him and Meghan Trainor went to a sex shop together and had paparazzi photos.
Cheery.
From it.
That's very, very nice. So I think in this case, it could be good. I don't think it's something I could watch. One of the things I would have thought would have been interesting is they could have casted Dave Bautista as the dad, and I thought that might have been kind of cool because he plays against the stereotype of being the big man.
It'd be okay, yeah.
Right? So I think he could have done it. Might have been kind of interesting. But yeah, like I did not. I was like, that does not look like Michelle Rodriguez. And then I'm like, I'm just literally that dumb. I'm looking at a name that says Gina Rodriguez, and I'm like, that doesn't look like Michelle Rodriguez because I'm apparently just not very smart. So,
apparently.
Yeah. Oh, also, guys, if you are on Twitter or X, you were supposed to take the day off today because Mark Hamill says so. You're not supposed to tweet today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure to tweet today.
He says, I am proposing that August 1st be a tweet out day where blue voters take the day off from tweeting. Womp womp. Think of the revenue lost for Twitter X if we did that. Best way to affect change with a billionaire is to hit him in the wallet. Retweet if you're with me. Well, there's too mad at Stephen Amell today, Mark. They're going to tweet anyways because union strong and other such stupidity. He says, Elon, this is another person, says, Elon tweets about users and tweets making him money. His advertisers need us. Elon needs us. Let's show him how much. I just can't with these people. I just can't.
They're ankle biting.
They're commies. It's a lot of them. Commies, the lot of them. So, if you want to take
Mark
the day
Hamill
off,
just like a major boomer?
He's a boomer, and he has one of the worst cases of TDS in history.
I thought he kind of had a cool moment, like when he was hanging out with David Dobrik and them.
That's not cool.
Or were they just silently making fun of him behind his back the whole time?
Probably, but he's just a boomer. He's old, he's a boomer, and he's got really bad TDS. Like, as bad as Mark Ruffalo, as bad as Rob Reiner, like as bad as any of these people.
What about KDS, Kanye derangement?
He's probably got that. He's got Elon. He's EDS too. He's got erectile dysfunction and Elon derangement syndrome. He's got both.
But
also, guys, speaking of Elon, it fits in the ugly strobing X logo on the top of X headquarters is officially gone. They got rid of it.
Maybe the city forced them to take that down too. It was up for 3 nights. Gotta wonder what Elon's next move is with the logo. He's never been known to act on impulse.
No, never. I've never seen Elon.
But he might be getting sued because of the apartment building across the street. Sued for emotional damage or lack of sleep or something like that. Like if you got into a car accident the next day after you had a lack of sleep from the strobe lights outside, then he's responsible for that. He's liable.
He's like, it's like one of those things like when your TV, like when a logo gets burned into a TV because you've seen it because it's played so many times over. Like you close your eyes and behind your eyelids you just see big X's behind them.
Apparently, they were holding up the X logo on the rooftop with sandbags. It's just kind of ghetto.
I like it. I'm here.
But it looks like they have like a pretty nice seating area set up on the rooftop of the Twitter HQ.
Is it weird to you that he's keeping it in San Francisco?
Yes, it was a weird decision in my book, but I mean, he says that it's because he has loyalty to the city no matter what.
That's stupid.
Even though he's not from there.
In the chat, I have to address this. Lord Crimson TV says, "What you drinking, Brett?" I am drinking Ghost Cherry Limeade, and I have to point this out because I was mentioning it to Mary recently. It's literally the unhealthiest thing on the face of the planet. It tastes like caustic chemicals. I love it. It's amazing. It's like if bad for your health had a flavor, it would be any of the Ghost energy drinks.
If it's so bad for him, why does it taste so good?
Also,
I'm having water in a glass bottle.
Well, it's so funny because like every time I do IRL, if I do IRL, they make like somebody has to comment how I don't have a glass water bottle. They're like, "Are you just not cool enough for
Cringe."
I'm just no. I'm just like, give me the microplastics. Give me all of the microplastics. It's how I build up my immune system.
Speaking of things being inedible,
yes.
Bloomberg reported that Mr. Beast is suing the Ghost Kitchen company that he hired for his Beast Burgers. In the lawsuit, it claims that his fans have been leaving negative reviews, calling the burgers disgusting, revolting, and inedible. And the influencer states that he complained about those issues, but Virtual Dining Concepts, the company, didn't seem to care. They wanted to use his public image and use his name to boost their profile and get more celebrity brand deals. And they already got one with NASCAR and Mariah Carey.
We got a $20 one there from Cody Boudreaux.
I don't know if I want to read that one, to be honest.
You could see the first part, I guess. I don't know.
He says, "My sister and I love the Ghost energy drinks."
Well, thank you, Cody. We're glad that you like the
Good for
Ghost.
you.
We're glad that you like the Ghost energy drinks. Thank you. Yeah, and it's really funny because I've never ordered a Mr. Beast.
Have you ordered anything from a Ghost Kitchen?
No, I think I've told this story before. I once ordered Chuck E. Cheese pizza from Uber Eats.
Okay. Questionable.
It's literally the most disgusting thing ever.
Was it recycled?
Basically, yeah. Like it was incredible, right? It was disgusting.
It just has that weird sugary flavor in the sauce.
Yeah, not just that, but like literally you're eating. You're like, I could be eating the cardboard box and I wouldn't know the difference.
It's okay.
At this point, if enough sauce got on the box.
I'm not pissed about pizza quality. Or burgers, to be honest.
They're both good. And speaking of food like that, Taco Bell is being sued for false advertising of Crunch Wraps in Mexican pizzas, and that is a crime against humanity, as far as I'm concerned.
So I guess anybody who lives in New York State who has purchased the following: Mexican pizza, veggie Mexican pizza, Crunch Wrap Supreme, Grande Crunch Wrap, and Vegan Crunch Wrap may be deserving of damages from the Taco Bell Corporation because you did not get the content that is advertised in their images.
You may be entitled to compensation.
Yes. The plaintiff included photos showing food bursting with beef, cheese, and bright red and green vegetables, juxtaposed with actual photos of smaller, less vibrant food that other customers posted online.
It's like the bill.
Any company could have this happen to them. Any fast food restaurant.
There was a Dane Cook skit where he talks about how he's like, whoever takes the pictures of the French fries at Burger King, you're amazing. Those things are a glamour shot. They're like shooting out of the box like that. All the burgers
we already
are
know
like
that these pictures are faked. They spray glue on stuff. They dye the food. It's usually not real.
Yep. Also, I wonder if it's also could be like what if you got advertised a chili cheese burrito? They don't have the chili cheese burrito. Like I said, I make fun of people in Florida for not having the chili cheese burrito. But then I ended up getting paid back on that because I found out that they don't have the double-decker taco at Taco Bell in Minnesota anymore, which broke my heart.
I recently got a breakfast Crunch Wrap. Yep. Yeah.
How was that? And I literally was it good?
Very tiny compared to the normal Crunch Wrap, but whatever. It instead of a tortilla in there, instead of like the crunchy tortilla inside, it's like hash browns on the bottom layer, and it has like bacon and eggs.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It was really good. I got it with breakfast salsa.
I've heard good things that people generally like the Taco Bell breakfast. I've never indulged.
Also, Cinnabon Delights are just a non-negotiable.
I just posted this meme yesterday. It's from a guy. It says, Taco Bell, try this new thing. Me, what is it? Taco Bell, does it matter? Me, no. I'll take three.
Literally, that's why I bought the volcano stuff, and it's not even spicy. If you guys want to try it, don't bother. It's not spicy.
Yeah, it says me. It says, does it matter? No, I'll take three.
But this might be a seasonal thing, but I don't think a lot of you realize that it's 99 cents for any iced coffee, any size, before 11 a.m. at McDonald's. So I've been taking advantage of that. Probably a summer thing.
Getting rid of it after the summer.
Maybe.
Maybe. That's good though. It's a good way to start the day. Good way to start the day.
I don't get food there. No.
All right. Tell us about Alicia Keys.
Sure. Alicia Keys was getting dressed for her concert in Brooklyn the other day, and her 8-year-old son, Genesis, had taken issue with the wardrobe decisions she made. And
shocking.
She then posted a video of this on her Instagram so that the entire internet can attack this child. So let's watch the video and judge for ourselves.
Okay. Here we go.
Really gonna do this, Mom?
What's wrong?
The heart.
It's cool.
So everybody can see your boobs?
They can't. They just see a heart. See,
I've never seen somebody do that.
well, you're only 8. The worst is going to be is this.
Okay. How about we do this? How about we do this?
You do the top. It's not a big deal. It's boobs. Everyone has boobs.
The kid's going places in life if he keeps that energy.
I think that she's gonna squash that energy
Yeah.
anytime it's expressed.
Yeah.
Sure, her caption says, "Teach them young so they don't grow up." Or sorry, this is somebody's comment, not her. "Teach them young so they don't grow up being controlling and thinking they can police women's bodies." But then on the other hand, someone else said, "How is it that kids know right from wrong, but adults don't?"
Shocking, isn't it? How
Yeah.
the kid seems to understand that inherently maybe that's not something you
Alicia
want to...
Keys is how old at this point? She's probably in her 40s or maybe 50s, right?
She's still looking good.
I'm not saying she doesn't look good. I'm not saying that at all. But, and you know what else? I think even if you're in your prime, you probably shouldn't be running around with nipple pasties on and nothing else. But it's just not classy.
I love this. She's like, the excuse is that everybody has boobs. First of all, no. Second of all, that would be like a dude being like, well, everyone's got a dick. And then, you can just go run around with your dong out. No.
What did she mean by everyone has boobs? That's also not true.
As I said, it's one, it's not true. And two, that's just, it's just not necessarily the most valid of reasons why that's something you want to do. Right? It doesn't actually make any sense.
He said the same thing that Keke Palmer's boyfriend said. You're a mother, okay? Maybe there are some things that mothers shouldn't do.
He can't do. He's gonna become a police officer with that attitude. He's policing his own mom's body, and that's just not allowed.
He's got a whistle. He's like, stop right there. Stop.
He's I'm saying right now, if he can escape his mother's feminist clutches as far as those teachings, he's going places in life. Listen to your mom, just not on this. Listen to your mother. Be a good person, but just you're the right one on the. You're right on this one, buddy.
Is she still married to?
I don't know.
The father. I don't know who she's married to, if anybody.
But it's she's like, it's cool. It's cool. But the thing is, nobody at 8 thinks their mom is cool. Thinks their mom or dad is cool. It's just,
well, maybe by 8 you haven't made that realization yet that your parents are real people, but you definitely don't see your mom as like some kind of sexual video vixen. Like, I don't know. Sometimes you just need to mature. Not the 8-year-old, the adult woman in this video. You need to mature and realize,
she's still a great singer, though.
Graduate past your old ways.
I will give her this. She's still a good singer.
That's true.
She can still sing.
We'll give her that.
All right, guys. I want to talk a little bit about Twisted Metal because I watched the whole thing yesterday. I haven't binged a show in a very, 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 very long time, but this is about the strongest of Brett recommends as I can give you. The episodes are only 30 minutes long. That is the number one thing that this show has going for it. It's a Peacock show. What I would classify it as is a better version of what James Gunn tries to do with his ensemble cast, meaning that it takes all of the emotional resonance that James Gunn builds up and works it together with the immature humor that he likes to use, and they use them to kind of juxtapose one another. You take immature, what did the article say, Reddit humor?
Well, of course, what I looked up when Brett started praising Twisted Metal is a negative review for it.
Yeah.
That says, because it lacks the iconic characters of Super Mario Bros. Movie and the storyline of The Last of Us, which in my opinion was it had to fill that void with obnoxious jokes and mean personalities and relies on Reddit-esque made-up swear words like dick punch And mostly the protagonist saying, "Oh shit," over and over in order to tell you that what's happening on screen is supposed to be awesome.
So in
and
this
that just
show-
made it seem awful.
In this show,
to me.
First of all, this show has two main characters, just like The Last of Us. Both of them prove to be infinitely more likable and more watchable as the show goes on. So Anthony Mackie's character, his name's literally John Doe. His goal in this show is to deliver a package, basically a MacGuffin from point A to point B, because it offers him a chance at a better life. The person who offers him the job offers him a chance of a better life. And the other character of Quiet, which is portrayed by Stephanie Beatriz, her character, she's out to get revenge. Something tragic happens to her that you see early on. And what you see in this show is essentially two characters growing and bonding together over 10 episodes in which they develop very, very real feelings for one another. And it does contrast perfectly and beautifully with the absurdist violence and swearing and Reddit-esque humor that's going on around them. They participate in that humor. They are absolutely a part of it. But when, and really it is the Stephanie Beatriz, her character of Quiet, that ends up stealing the show because she brings an unbelievable amount of emotional resonance to her character, which actually ends up carrying the show in a way that I think Anthony Mackie, as good as he did, doesn't actually quite, his journey, as valid and as real as his goal is, as what he wants, as his desires are, you feel for her character's growth more because of what a good job this actress does of portraying what she's experiencing and the experiences between the two as they go through. They start off very, very cold and distant. They don't trust each other. They slowly work together and become like a valid, real kind of couple. And then they have a falling out and then get back together. And it all works beautifully. Basically, he's chasing the white picket fence. She's chasing revenge. And they go on this journey together. And it really, really, really works. And I posted like a tweet yesterday. I kid you not, on Instagram, I posted, it's like literally them cuddling in a ball pit. I says, if this gets more emotional resonance I did that on Instagram. I'm getting more emotional resonance from a couple cuddling in a ball pit and an abandoned kids amusement park than I've gotten from anything in The Last of Us or anything that I've seen in a very, very long time.
Well, in that case, why is it not going to get as much viewership as The Last of Us did? It's because the IP is less valuable.
I mean, the IP's been around for longer than
it's been around
than
for
Last
longer,
of Us,
but it's not
got
as
less
valuable.
Yes, exactly, right? So
it translates less clearly than the storyline of The Last of Us as well, because The Last of Us is already basically a movie.
If you want an example of why the humor works or how the tone works in the show, there's like a 4 or 5 minute scene in which his character and her character are tortured by being forced to listen to the song Barbie Girl at extreme volumes as they waterboard them and make them fill out DMV paperwork. It's incredible. Like, it's like the tone of it makes no sense, right? But it's just like James Gunn does. And it's funny because they actually use music as a through line in this too. It's a lot to do with the character. He likes various types of music, right? Because he's listening to him in this car that he's developed a very deep emotional connection with. This show also does a better job of implementing flashbacks to tell their characters' backstories than The Last of Us did. So they use their time more wisely because the episodes are shorter, far more concise, while getting way more emotional mileage out of what you're looking to do for something like this. And the guy who plays Sweet Tooth is Samoa Joe, the pro wrestler, and it's fantastic. Like, as the violence that his character perpetrates on other people is amazingly well done. All of the car scenes are very CGI heavy, but very, very fun to watch. And the set design on the show is what sells it probably more than anything. Whether we're talking about Sweet Tooth's lair, whether we're talking about the designs of the cars or the convoy trucks, inside, like the workings of the inside of these convoy trucks, the people who did the set design on this show understood that visually it had to be as ridiculous and over the top looking as the story actually tries to
Someone asked what it has to do with the game's premise.
Almost nothing.
Yeah, almost nothing because it doesn't translate exactly one to one.
Exactly. Like I only played the first game, so there is absolutely the very last episode does end up implementing the premise quite a bit. But
That's
if
why
I had
it makes me wonder, like, why even bother adapting adapting something from an IP
because
that...
there's lots of Easter eggs. There's lots of Easter eggs
Okay.
and push in calls back to the game in it.
Well, if I watched it, I wouldn't pick up on any of them.
So beyond that, like the show it's just really, really good. And I recommend everyone go check it out. I haven't been that excited about a show in a long time. And within the first episode, usually you can tell right away, especially for something that short, whether it's going to be something you want to watch or not. The character of Quiet ends up stealing the show. And I didn't like her at first. I really didn't like her character at first because she did have the sarcastic, annoying humor that tends to be very grating. But here's the difference. Yes, she embodies the sarcastic, annoying humor that Hollywood loves to give people. But she's also deeply flawed and allows herself to be unbelievably, deeply vulnerable with the main character. So you're allowed in, therefore she feels more like a full-fledged, actually well-written character, right? And somebody put it really, really well in the tweet, like, because I was tweeting about it last night. They said it's dystopia. You know, it's post-apocalyptic, like everything we see these days, but it's not trying to be literature. It's not trying to be highbrow. It's not trying to be something that it's not. It leans into the best aspects of what works for it. Like I said, very much in the vein of James Gunn. Absurdist, over-the-top humor with strong, deep emotional connection at its core. I don't know what more you want from something if that's what you actually like out of movies. If you enjoyed James Gunn's Suicide Squad, or you enjoyed his work with The Guardians, especially the first one, the music, the tone, the fact that these two characters, first of all, here's the other thing. They allow these characters to get together, right? It's not a show where they're just a guy and a girl have to just go on their journey and be dour and depressed all the time and not connect. Mm-hmm. They connect very deeply through both of their shared trauma, as people say. And they explore that in depth throughout it. So you're peppered with violence and gore and really, really over-the-top characters. But then you get these small, quiet moments together that they then penetrate with more of their own over-the-top personalities, almost as a way to guard themselves from connecting emotionally with the other person. And I would say that if anything, maybe Anthony Mackie, as good as he was, I think a decade ago, I think they would have given that job to Will Smith. I really, really do. 2 decades ago, it would have been done in a more serious tone, and they would have given it to Wesley Snipes, probably. And he does a fine job. But I think the character of Quiet is the standout here. And Neve Campbell has a 2-episode arc at the beginning and the end. Seeing evil Neve Campbell is just weird. It's just weird. But I strongly recommend it. I would enjoy everyone going to watch it. It's on Peacock. Then, either send me a message on Twitter or let me know back on here and let me know what you think about it. Because, like I said, if you like those, if you like something like, if you're looking for an even more absurd and a humorous version of Mad Max meets The Last of Us meets The Fast and the Furious, it's very, very good. So everyone should go and check it out. I highly encourage you to do so. So, all right. What would you like to see first, Mary? Cute or cringe?
Let's look at cute first.
Okay, we got a cute one here first, and then we will also do cringe of the day. So for cute of the day, this is from Jacob Higdon. He says, "This is my rat terrier Chester." Smile for the camera, chat. Hold on, I got it. Hold on. Where is it? Where'd it go?
I got nervous when you said rat.
Nope, not a rat.
I thought it was going to be another rat pet post.
Nope.
But I like this one better.
Yep. He is officially on the list. He looks very happy to be.
Does have similar ears though.
All right, let us do cringe of the day then, shall we, guys? I'm going to give you a warning. This is very cringy, very, very cringy. Pinky Doll is back. She's always back. Is she?
She never left.
She never left.
Brett, I don't know if you're aware.
Here we go. Hold on. I got to turn the volume up.
Guys, it's your girl Pinky Doll. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, damn it! I did the
so
thing.
Good. Guys, remember when I say last week that I have something big coming up? Well, guess what? Your girl Pinky Doll gonna collab with Fashion Nova, baby. Fashion Nova. Fashion Nova's so good.
It's all you can aspire to in this day and age.
By the way, it's just the beginning. Cause I told you, your girl Pinky Doll is here to stay forever. Remember when I say that? Forever. And I mean it. So what's up? And by the way,
I'm getting Sandlot flashbacks.
Yes, yes, yes. Ice cream so good. Pinky Doll. Yes, yes, yes. Fashion Nova. Ice cream so good.
So
popping. That's about to be coming real soon.
She is a performer. I will give her that. She is a performer.
Is this why she was flown to Hollywood?
Must be, right? To do a song,
or is she
a
just
collab with Fashion
booked and
Nova?
busy? Why is Fashion Nova funding the song?
I have no idea if that's true. We got a $20 one there from Benrick5 with no message.
Oh, well, thank you, I guess.
And thank you for
Thanks
that.
anyway.
First time super chatter. Thank you very much.
I don't want Pinky Doll to stay forever and ever and ever. I don't want her to. I'm living in my own personal purgatory.
Rick C says, let her go, Brett. I can't, man. It's cringe of the day. Cringe of the day is going to be cringe of the day. I can't.
Pinky Doll for president.
Well, I'm ready to vote for her. I'm ready. What do you think Pinky Doll's fiscal policies would be?
All the money goes to her.
Okay. And like
she doesn't have to pay taxes. Everyone else does.
See, you know what we're missing right now? Given Joe Biden's proclivity for ice cream, he could be making his own ice cream so good right now.
So true.
He could be making.
Well, she needs to do a collab with him called Chaka Chaka Chip.
He needs to.
Chaka Chaka Chip.
And he's like, corn,
so good.
Corn pop, bad dude. Corn pop, bad dude.
Yes.
Like I'm
yes,
so down
corn
for that.
pop. Yes, corn pop.
I was also thinking like Cardi B could lean into this and have one where they throw microphones at her. Where she's like, microphones, dodge. Microphones, dodge. So good. Like, you know what? Pinky Doll, she's going places. It's not necessarily places you want to be.
Cardi B, watch out, because someone's gonna take your throne.
She's coming for you, man. She's coming for you, and I'm here for it. I'm gonna vote for her. If she runs for any type of office, I'm gonna vote for her. So, all right.
Brett Loki loves Pinky Doll.
Secretly,
it's not Loki.
Secretly, all I do is follow her when I'm done with the show. I immediately go to my phone and like, yes.
You get on her TikTok live stream.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's go ahead and let's talk about Stephen Amell, because Stephen Amell, ladies and gentlemen, he is going to be in very, very deep trouble if he is not very careful, because over the weekend at a convention, he spoke out against the writers and actors strike. And as you know, Hollywood is an industry full of conformity and silencing those who don't agree with you. Not good.
He was just in the show Heels, which premiered the other day.
Season 2, just came out the other day.
Yeah, and they asked him, how do you think the strike is going to impact the show? And I didn't think he would be able to answer this question just because you can't promote your work. So he can be on the panel to talk about anything except for the show that he's in that just came out. And let's just watch the video of his response, because honestly, it was a little bit incoherent and not anti-strike.
He said, and he had said that he'd been like talking for an hour at that point, so I'm sure he was exhausted.
Been there.
I mean, like,
I have definitely been there, Stephen Amell.
To be fair, like, you might, like, maybe after like 2 hours, you might feel that way. I'm that way like 5 minutes in. So, like, let's go ahead and watch what he has to say.
The ongoing strike that is happening.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm insulated in Hollywood because that's where I live. I literally live in Hollywood. Like all the stereotypes that exist. So I feel like a lot of people in this room aren't aware of the strike. I support my union. I do, and I stand with them. I do not support striking. I don't. I think that it is a reductive negotiating tactic. And I find the entire thing incredibly frustrating. And I think that the thinking as it pertains to shows like the show that I'm on that premiered last night, I think that is...
Don't say the name of the show. Don't say the name of the show.
I think it's myopic. And I stand with my union.
That's pretty much all he said.
That's what he's in trouble for.
Mostly stayed on script, but apparently he's blown up his career, and after getting a ton of hate for this clip, he posted on Instagram to clarify his position. He said,
go ahead.
Understandably, there's been a lot of reaction to the comments I made this weekend about our strike. To ensure there's no misunderstanding about my thoughts and intentions, I'm providing what I actually said to ensure my feelings aren't unintentionally misinterpreted. We all know sound bites can be taken out of context, and I have too much respect for my fellow union members to not clarify the record. So, what I actually said, I support my union, I do, I stand with them. This doesn't need much clarity. My support is unconditional, and I stand with them. What I actually said, I do not support striking, I don't. What this means in full context, I understand fundamentally why we're here. My off-the-cuff use of the word support is clearly contradictory to my true feelings and my emphatic statement that I stand with the union. Of course, I don't like striking. Nobody does. But we have to do what we have to do. So not only do you have to stand in union strong solidarity, you have to enjoy yourself through the strike.
Yes.
You have to enjoy not working, or else you're not union strong, as Sarah Silverman said.
Yes.
It just seems like compelling someone's conscience.
No, it is. It absolutely is that, right? Like the fact of the matter is he's being raked over the coals. First of all, his own...
People don't like him for other reasons.
But
that's why this is happening.
Not even that, though. But this is not just from, nobodies on Twitter. These are people that were in the Arrowverse with him that just decided to drag him right away. So
His own co-stars,
Matt Lesher, he was Reverse Flash on the Flash, says, still waiting on that comprehensive list of totally non-reductive negotiating tactics we get to employ now. Thank God for superheroes. Any second now. And then Kirk Acevedo says, this effing guy. And then puts up middle fingers. Like, Kirk Acevedo is another one of those dudes who, like, threw Jim Caviezel under the bus after, like, he's like, I worked with him on TV shows, and then he ended up like this. Kirk Acevedo seems like a snake to me, but...
They both do. Yeah. And then we found out the real reason that all of this backlash is happening. One person tweeted, Stephen Amell is a racist who mocked Beyonce and a 12-year-old brown kid. He's a racist who tried to shame Grant Gustin for not going on his podcast because Grant was at the George Floyd protests. He's a misogynist who publicly slut-shamed Miley Cyrus. He hates homeless puppies. He's always been a piece of shit. So we know the real reason why he's getting hate now.
Yes.
But let's just go point by point and look at why people think that he is at war with the Beehive, why he's a racist, etc.
I also want to point out that this was always going to happen because if you want a picture drawn of what like weird, creepy, overinvested, identity politics-laden stan culture looks like, it's the fan base that the Arrowverse got. Down the line, right? Between the
but
Arrow,
it's also the Beyonce fan base, which calls themselves the most powerful non-government like association that exists. They want to ruin his life because he made a joke that he would be passing on watching Beyonce's performance at Coachella in 2018. That's it.
Yeah, that's all he ended up saying there was that he wanted to leave early to beat traffic, and because Beyonce fans are kind of nuts, they took it very, very personally.
He said, Beyonce fans are very, very sensitive. Remind me to never make a passive joke about music. Holy shit.
Yeah, well, they're crazy. He also didn't add the symbol at the end, like the what is it called? At the end of the E on Beyonce, which is racist.
Oh, yeah. That's a subtle sign of white supremacy, they said.
What's that symbol called? I don't even know. But the accent.
He didn't put the accent on the E in Beyonce, which I've done plenty of times. Oops. I guess that makes me racist. And then a Beehive account said, y'all got to learn to stop asininely putting yourselves in our crosshairs.
Yeah, because they're mentally ill and they're crazy. They're stans just like BTS fans are stans, just like Swifties. It's a crazy culture of people that go out to ruin your life because they have a weird parasocial relationship with a celebrity.
He tweeted, by the way, let's do a hypothetical and say I was insulting Beyonce. People's capacity to take a tiny slight and fire back with deeply personal tweets is alarming. What a bunch of effing losers. And when they called him out for not using correct accent in her name, he said, my apologies, with accents on every letter in the word apologies.
That was very, very...
he seems like he's funny, but you said that he's slowly digging his grave all the way down to a Daily Wire movie.
He will end up in a Daily Wire movie if he's not very careful. Yeah, he's
not like you're at rock bottom if you were in a Daily Wire movie. Not saying that at all.
I'm saying that we've ghettoized.
You're going to ghettoize yourself if you stray from the orthodoxies you're supposed to spew as an actor. And then the accusation of racism because he made a remark about how Grant Gustin wasn't on his podcast episode is also totally overblown. So let's just play the clip of what he said, which they called passive aggressive.
That's okay, I've got it here. Hold on.
A little bit of a different format today. Full disclosure, Grant Gustin was supposed to be the guest this morning. He very politely and calmly texted me yesterday and said that with everything going on in Los Angeles, that maybe this wasn't the appropriate time to spend 45 minutes talking about how he became such a giant, lovable television star and just star in general. So we're going to save Grant for a little bit.
I don't know if it was passive aggressive.
I don't think it's passive aggressive. I think he's literally complimenting Grant Gustin and not, begrudging him the right to protest at all.
And there's a $20 super chat there.
Trucker and Tourist. Unions are disgusting organizations. The only unions I support are for hard labor type of jobs, construction, plumbing, electrical, welding, etc. I don't even support trucking unions. They destroy businesses and foster the lazy habits.
What about those teachers unions?
Yeah,
the teachers unions.
He didn't mention that.
He didn't, but yeah, so they're very upset with him. And here's the thing: he also if you want to know how crazy these people would be, somebody went through and found this tweet from him where he retweeted Jordan Peterson, and they would call that an alt-right dog whistle.
It was the freedom of speech implies the right to offend or something like that.
He says, in order to be able to think, you have to risk being offensive. And somebody says, if you didn't already know how bad he was, basically, that it just gets worse because he dared to tweet
freaking Nazi because he retweeted Jordan Peterson.
Yep,
that's his sin right there. And then his post about Miley Cyrus weirdly doesn't name Miley Cyrus.
Nope.
People just assumed that it was when they heard that it was an overly sexualized velociraptor. If your first assumption when you hear that is that it's Miley Cyrus, that says more about your opinion of Miley Cyrus. He said, I had breakfast on Tuesday in Los Angeles with my wife and daughter. In the midst of marveling at how she's able to eat pancakes intended for fully grown humans while weighing less than 25 pounds, an incredibly famous young woman came in with her sort of not really famous boyfriend. I immediately tensed because I consider this person, as the father of a young girl, to be nothing short of an emotional terrorist. My wife senses this and asks me what's wrong. I respond that we need to leave immediately for fear my kid and this overly sexualized velociraptor make eye contact even for the briefest of instances. I was dead serious. This is what it's like to have a daughter.
Yep.
And someone asked him, did you actually leave? LOL. He said, I preoccupied my child and paid in cash, leaving my wife behind so she could get a to-go cup for her latte.
What all of this says to me.
So he slut shamed Miley Cyrus.
What all of this stuff says to me more than anything is I think somebody like him would have to understand, and most people in that realm have to understand, it encapsulates just how fickle and fleeting fame can be in these industries, especially if you're on a show like Arrow, which the Arrowverse on the CW, it harbored a very, very, very heavily identity politics favoring fan base, right? So shippers, progressivism, all that stuff was a very, very big part of it. It was always going to go this way. I'm actually surprised it didn't happen sooner, but this was a toe out of line that they're just not going to tolerate. And I don't know.
Straw that broke the camel's back.
There's a point where he says in that speech in the original one from the con where I really think that he realized that what he said was something he wasn't going to be able to take back.
Yeah.
I think he's too
immediately started panicking.
Yeah. I believe that he understood that. Yeah.
Like, no, I stand with my union. But you don't have to enjoy striking while you're striking just because you're standing with your union.
You're not allowed to question it.
Is that what they're standing for?
You're not
He's
allowed
not
to question
questioning.
it.
He's literally not even questioning that they have valid reasons to strike. And he's also participating in the strike and holding the picket line by not mentioning his new show or the new season of his show in the appearance.
It is funny. Somebody points out this says there's no more ironic character for Stephen Amell to have than playing the Green Arrow, who would be 100% pro-strike. They're probably
also,
right about that.
One comment said, this is 100% a man who is sexually possessive and has inappropriate boundaries with his own daughter. Oh, the irony. So you're essentially implying that this man is a PDF file because he questioned the strike.
You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to question anything. And that's
just
what I
so
hate.
we're clear.
This is what I hate the most about Hollywood, right?
And then there were also articles about him, getting into some kind of domestic violence situation with his wife. I don't know anything about that. I mean,
no, that's not what this was. He was he raised his voice to her on an airplane because he was drunk.
Oh, okay.
Not good. Not something.
Okay, he might be a jerk, but who cares? All actors are jerks.
Yes.
Whatever. I don't know why people have faith in the personal holiness of the celebrities that they idol worship.
Yeah.
And then about him hating homeless puppies, he essentially called the cops on a dog shelter that was like a kennel that was open near his house that didn't have the correct like zoning.
Yeah.
And got it shut down.
Tried to.
Or tried to get it shut down.
Says he's in the middle of a lawsuit he filed against the neighbors in their animal rescue business. The 41-year-old actor and his wife Cassandra Jean live next door to Kristen Stavola, Jeremy Gardner, who run the Rescues Rock Inc. adoption and foster nonprofit out of their Los Angeles home. Amell says that the neighborhood is a residential zone and that the animal rescue is illegally being run out of the house. I kid you not, I follow this dude on Instagram. Just the other day, he was literally complaining about somebody mowing their lawn at the wrong time. He is very
He
clearly,
might be a Karen.
He might be a little bit of a Karen. He might care a lot about peace
Worse
and
things
quiet
have
in his
happened
neighborhood.
in the world, though.
But that doesn't mean that
I wouldn't want a bunch of dogs barking in my backyard either.
he's a NIMBY. So in the chat, Andrina's right. He's a NIMBY.
Trucker and Taurus said, "Don't get me started on teachers' unions. If these blue-haired freaky people feared losing their jobs, they wouldn't be trying to push their BS on children." Well, that goes for Hollywood too. The intellectual class and governing cops don't need unions. Good point.
It's he definitely seems a bit like he likes things just so, and he's willing to complain when that doesn't go his way. But Hollywood is an industry where you're not allowed to have an opposing viewpoint. He agreed with 99.9% of everything they're saying, and because he disagrees on one point, he is now persona non grata, and he has to be in trouble. And the fact that anybody who understands a little bit about Hollywood knows that what he said was going to be a problem proves to you just how absurd all of it is, right? Mm-hmm. Just the fact that I can hear that somebody says, so-and-so actor doesn't support the strike, and you know that that's going to be a big deal. It's a bit of a test. It shows you just how rigidly they expect you to conform to their belief system. Mm-hmm. And that's scary.
Wish that Stephen Amell hadn't kind of apologized for his comments and had instead doubled down or just let them be misinterpreted. If people want to interpret what you say as if you're some kind of comic villain, then that's their prejudice that they're going to keep. But he said, in full context, I'm an actor and I was speaking extemporaneously for over an hour. I emote, but I certainly don't think these issues are simple. Our leadership has an incredibly complicated job, and I'm grateful for all they do. Despite some of my terrible early acting work, I assure you I'm not a robot. From an intellectual perspective, I understand why we are striking, but that doesn't mean it isn't emotionally frustrating on many levels for all involved.
There's a $20 super chat there from Benrick5 again. No message, none.
Well, thank you.
I'm gonna hit the heart button on it. I keep forgetting I can hit the heart button on all these. There we go. Heart button for you. Heart button for you. Heart button for you. Everybody gets a heart
Everyone
button.
gets a heart.
I am the Oprah Winfrey of heart buttons here on PCC. I look just like her. There we go.
And then he said, nothing about the strike is funny, but if I may self-deprecate for a moment, I have no clue what I was trying to say here, and who says, I think that thinking. Perhaps it was an inarticulate shout out to our crew and cast who mean the world to me. I'm simply sad that we don't have a chance to celebrate a show that all of us figuratively and I literally broke my back for. As I said from the jump, I want to ensure that my thoughts and intentions are not misconstrued. This situation reminds me of the proverb, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, which apparently, after reading a limited amount of the commentary, is a place many of you would like me to visit. However, at least for the foreseeable future, I choose to stand with my union. When you see me on a picket line, please don't whip any hard fruit.
I hope he doesn't. It's annoying that he's doing that. I don't want him to go to the picket lines. I'd rather he just spend time with his family. He seems unbelievably normal. Mm-hmm. He owns a wine company as well.
That's who was on his podcast with him, is the guy that founded his winery with him.
He owns a wine company. He seems like a very normal dude. He loves pro wrestling.
You can't be normal in Hollywood now.
No,
you have to be one of these blue-haired freaks, as Trucker and Taurus said.
Yeah.
In order to get along in this industry.
And I give him a lot of credit for at least trying, but I'm not a fan of the bending the knee.
Yeah.
But it was always going to happen. The dude's young. He's still going to want to work for a period of time. Problem
Do you
is,
think
like,
he's blown up his career and is never going to
No.
work again simply because of this comment?
I love the idea that we live in a world now where that's a threat, but Kevin Spacey's like, I can assault a bunch of people apparently and still find work in other countries, so it's fine.
Thank you.
It's all about what Hollywood considers uncouth.
If you're
Thank you. Oh, and then there's one more from Tom Bombaderp.
He said, from Benrick5, he's figuring out how Superchats work. Great show. This is where I come to catch up with my wife's incredible knowledge of pop culture and combat her silly perceptions.
Yes! Well,
Okay.
we are the opposite of Barbie. We are here to bring you guys together so that you can have fruitful discussions about stupid celebrities and all of the ridiculous things that happen in that industry.
But the same way that you shouldn't let politics consume
Yes.
you, don't let pop culture do the same either.
That's
and
somehow
don't let
even
that, you know,
worse. Like,
start arguments between you and your wife.
Like,
Hopefully that's
imagine
not happening.
it was one of those things where, like, sure, your wife is a Democrat and you're a hardline Republican, and that was fine. We were good for 20 years, but then one day I was like, Beyonce's not that great, and she left me immediately, and I had to go live on a couch or sleep in a hotel room because I said I won't join the Bayhive. Sorry, Beehive.
It's just funny how those divisions in families or friend groups between like political opinions or even opinions about celebrities never used to break up relationships, and now that's the case. Like, okay, my mom was on an episode of Oprah in the 90s with her parents. I haven't mentioned this before, but it seems pertinent now. She was on an episode of Oprah in the 90s with my grandparents, because it was like an episode about political divisions in families and like how do you get around that dinner table discussion. And it was so funny to read the transcripts of it because she's like this Republican teenager with a Republican dad, and my grandmother was a Democrat at the time because, you know, being a Democrat in the 90s was much, much different than it is now. And, you know, they were just talking about spending and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, you can just laugh about it and it's not that big of a deal. And, you know, in the transcripts, people were even applauding some of the stuff that she was saying from a Republican point of view. That would never happen on Oprah or any talk show today.
This is like when, like, we'll talk about a celebrity for 20 minutes and Ian will come back like an hour later after being part of the discussion and be like, oh yeah, I remember I met them that one time at this restaurant. I'm like, how did that not come up in the 20 minutes we spent talking about that celebrity?
He didn't want to be a name dropper.
Oh, good for him. But that's so you're definitely CIA. I'm with Rick C. You're definitely CIA.
I have been trying to find like a VHS of this episode for the longest time. If I do, I'll let you know.
You're like what did it say? You're 3 degrees away from Obama at this point.
I guess so.
Yeah. That's crazy, dude. Like,
the culture has changed,
and it was
a lot.
It's why I bring up the show Boston Legal all the time, because James Spader's character and William Shatner's character are very opposite politically, but they're best buds on the show. That's the best part of it.
Another one said, someone needs to go find this footage and bring it to the Discord server.
Dude, bro.
What if in the footage she looks just like me?
No,
I have no idea.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know where to find it, but
now they're saying
maybe some of you sleuths can find it for me.
Now they're saying I'm the Fed. You just have well-connected parents, but that's how you get into these federal agencies and into the halls of power these days.
I won't say any more identifying information about my parents.
Fair
just
enough.
that. I'll
Fair
leave
enough.
it at that.
All right. Well, the moral of the story here is that Hollywood is a place that expects you to conform to every belief that they hold. And when actually, that reminds me, there was one more thing I wanted to show, because there was a couple of comments in one of these articles that really, really stuck out to me as very, very telling of the industry that they work in. So this guy says, his name's Kyle, they, them on Twitter. Okay. Stephen Amell blew up his career in less than a minute. Wow, Stephen Amell his career. But that's not the one that I found the most interesting. This is the one I found the most interesting. This person says, if you have this opinion, why share it? Why would you choose to tank your career? Just stay silent. Literally nobody was thinking, man, what does Stephen Amell think about this strike?
Yes, they were. They literally asked him.
They asked
for his
him
opinion.
That. And
no one would ask you your opinion because you're a random they, them on Twitter.
The point here is that this is what they don't just expect it of you. They're actually embarrassed for you for not agreeing with them. They can't understand how anybody could take an alternative perspective, how anybody could choose anything other than silent compliance when you think something different than what everyone believes. That's why this union strike is disgusting.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the super chats here. Shane H. Wilder said, always down for some BBQ food. Not a fan of that BBQ non-food, though.
What the hell is BBQ non-food? And I want nothing to do with it.
I don't know. Lord Crimson TV said, Steve Aoki throws a cake at his concerts. Bro is a sniper. Brett, if you like bad horror movies, you need to watch Killer Sofa. Trust me, it's fun bad.
I'll have to check it out. And Steve Aoki must have been who I was talking about when I talked about the guy throwing the cake at the guy the other day. So, yes, awesome.
Shane H. Wilder said, Brett has reached full entertainment enlightenment now that he can identify actors by their bit roles in House.
I could always do that. Just like I say, Sasha Patrice from Pretty Little Liars played the girl with cancer in season 2 of House. I could tell you, in fact, most of the actors I could tell you would be by their bit roles in House. Like, for instance, the guy, Jonathan Majors, who is going to be Kang, and they just released a screenshot of him as Kang for Loki season 2, right? They just released that, which is about as good of a thumbs up as you can get from Marvel that we're not going to fire you for your abuse allegations. Well, he is now dating Megan Good. Megan Good played a firefighter who was attracted to a guy who had amnesia in season 3 or 4 of House. So I can identify everybody by their guest supporting roles in House. Just about everybody. So, all right, let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Irishima Otaru said, remember when Hamill wanted his grandkid aborted?
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
What is this?
Yeah. That wasn't even that long ago. Hold on. Mark Hamill.
Is this for real? I need to fact check this.
I have to. Yeah. So it says a former girlfriend of Mark's son Nathan, Meghan Chen, who was pregnant with Nathan's baby, claimed she was facing pressure from both Nathan and Mark to abort the baby. According to Chen, Nathan threatened to break up with her if she did not abort the baby, and Mark told her she shouldn't bring a child into the world that nobody wants. When Chen refused to abort, Mark's wife, Mary Lou, reportedly told her in an email, Meghan, you blew it.
Wow.
Yeah? Yep.
Wow.
Somebody was just talking about that not that long ago.
But that won't get you canceled in Hollywood.
No. You like aborting the baby is something Hollywood values the idea of, because how are you gonna get your role as a guest appearance on House that Brett will then remember later if you don't abort your baby?
This woman isn't even an actress.
Nope.
That's also like they obviously have any means in the world that they could ever want to provide for the kid. It's just a sick death cult, basically.
Yep, that's what it is. So let's move on now that we got that depressing stuff out of the way. Mary, tell us all about Meghan Markle.
Well, it looks like Meghan Markle is markling her friends in Hollywood. She's a notorious social climber who, wants to be friends with people in Hollywood to get connections. She doesn't want to fully sever her ties with the entertainment industry. And the most recent friends she's lost are the Beckhams, after she reportedly was telling people that they sold stories about her and Harry to the press. It says, have the Beckhams been markled? David and Victoria's close friendship with Meghan and Harry is over after being left absolutely furious at claims they leaked stories about the royal couple, as Meghan Markle cultivates a new group of friends. So I don't know where this comes from. It's sort of like a middle school girl drama to go around telling people that, she's been spreading rumors about me. Like as if anybody cares that much about you or your life. There are a ton of tabloids that talk about the royal family and about Meghan Markle and Harry, but other celebrities who are more famous than them certainly aren't participating in that, right? Yeah. It's just narcissistic to assume that.
I mean, she's got that going through her veins now, though, right? Because she got
She's
famous.
definitely a narcissist, right? Like her former employees even made like a Sussex Survivors Club after working for them because they're such insufferable people. So it looks like that friendship is over. And also, Meghan Markle is no longer friends with George Clooney and his wife Amell Clooney, as he is seen to be linked to King Charles instead. He was recently asked if he knows Meghan Markle, and he simply replied, "I don't." After they were friends, according to rumors, in 2018, they stopped being friends shortly after the wedding. So it says previously George Clooney defended her against vitriol from the press. He said, "I want to say they're chasing Meghan Markle everywhere. She's been pursued and vilified. A woman who is 7 months pregnant and chased in the same way that Princess Diana was. And it's history repeating itself. We've seen how that ends."
She's not as famous as Princess Diana.
Not
by a long shot.
I can't tell you how frustrating that is. Just seeing them broadcast a letter from a daughter to a father. She's getting a raw deal there, and I think it's irresponsible, and I'm surprised by that. So he's publicly defended her in the past, but now says, I have no idea who that woman is.
Who? Meghan who?
And also, at that time, there were rumors that she had beef with Kate Middleton and William, and that she was going to celebrity friends to vent about it and get their advice, which is a great excuse to use if you just want to gossip about people behind their backs. Like, I really need to vent about this to my friend Rihanna and my friend George Clooney.
Imagine thinking like they're going to have like the most profound things to say for you.
It said that Meghan Markle bonded with Rihanna over both being black women who moved from the US to the UK. I'm sure they have so much in common, right?
Maybe does Rihanna have anything in common? Did she work as a briefcase girl at any point?
No.
No
I think
Rihanna
she had a little bit
girl.
a bigger career than that, being on Deal or No Deal.
She's a billionaire now, isn't she, Rihanna?
I think she is, if not close.
Because of Fendi.
Fenty, not Fendi.
Fendi. That's a Fendi.
Yeah. She said that she hung out with this A-list couple. They were said to be giving the new mom parenting tips over dinner and brainstorming ideas with her about how to handle her relationship with Kate Middleton and which charities she should work with. And she bonded with Rihanna over their shared experiences moving from the US to the UK. And according to these reports, celebrity friendships mean that Meghan Markle is settling into the royal family a little easier. I guess it didn't help that much.
No, because now they're talking about possibly getting divorced too, right?
There are rumors that they're about to get divorced, but also rumors that they're moving somewhere in LA together. I don't know. I can't imagine that Harry is very happy in this relationship.
No, I imagine that she's going to like if I was to predict any type of relationship, like royal family getting a divorce, it would be the American, the snobby American being the one who divorces.
Well, Harry made a big mistake thinking, "Oh, I'm just going to cater to her whims and then she's going to be happy."
Oh, yeah. Somebody put in the chat, Rihanna is more British than Meghan. Barbados is in the British Commonwealth. There you go.
Yeah. Harry thought, I'm just going to give Meghan what she wants and I'm going to cater to her every demand. And then she's going to like me, which is obviously not true. Women are known to shit test their partners and see if they pass, and he failed, obviously. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got a divorce, and there are now reports that she would make $80 million off of a settlement if they did get divorced.
I just saw something recently that said that the king got a raise this year from like 100-something million to 164 million.
Where does the money come from?
The taxpayers.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's getting a raise. So I don't know what she's obviously not getting that, but I don't know if that means that Harry does.
I don't even know what the king or the monarch in general does.
He is at
this point. You're just sort of a symbol of a time that's already passed,
a bygone
in their history.
a bygone era.
Yeah.
she seems like a perfectly unlikable person, but I also wonder sometimes, like, look, if there's one industry, one sector of culture that's very, very liable to be victim of like hyperbole and being over the top, it's stuff about the royal family. But she's never done anything to dissuade the idea that she's every bit as unlikable as I mean, granted, I don't really think about Meghan Markle that much, but I do have to feel for Harry sometimes. He just seems like it was when he got his gun when she made him sell his gun collection. That was when I was like, bro.
After supposedly he was in combat. I don't believe that for a second. But maybe Harry, if you ask me, my prediction is Harry is the next one to get markled.
How so? Will he just leave? Will she just leave him?
Is that a play on murked?
Yeah, markled.
He's going to get markled next. He's going to, because I don't know how long you can live with this woman every day, you know? She
granted, she had annoying characteristics.
Takes a toll on someone.
Yeah, it does. Like, have you ever seen that video? I don't know what it's from, where like the woman says to the guy, she says like, she's not younger than me, she's not prettier than me. He's like, she's quieter than you. She's softer than you. She doesn't yell at me all the time. Like, she's exactly the woman that the guy in that video is talking about. It's probably from a television show or movie, but that's exactly what they're talking about. She's just mean to him. And you know, if she's mean to him, she's mean to every waiter, every staff person.
Yeah. That's why they had to create a support network for people who used to work for them. Another interesting detail here is that Suits is having a resurgence in popularity on Netflix. I guess people are just really wanting some more Meghan Markle content. After watching the docuseries. They're thirsty for Meghan Markle.
I will point out that I was right all along, and all of the shows that were on the USA Network in the early 2010s were masterpieces. So if you do like Suits, if you're watching Suits now, you should go back through and watch Burn Notice and White Collar and Covert Affairs and In Plain Sight and all of those shows. They were all fantastic. Graceland, all of them.
According to The Hollywood Reporter, the series is setting a viewing time record for an acquired series in the week of June 26th to July 2nd with 3.14 billion minutes of watch time.
Yeah.
Have you been rewatching?
That
might all be attributed to you, Brett.
No, I started but I wasn't watching it on Netflix. I was watching it on Peacock. So technically I can't be attributing to it because I wasn't watching it on Netflix. I love those first 3 to 4 seasons of Suits. I think that the Mike Ross character is one of the most. I saw somebody point out that he's really annoying. He is really, really annoying in the show, and so is the Rachel Zane character. But she wears a pencil skirt, and I forget all about the fact that she's annoying. Shockingly enough, I don't forget the fact that he's annoying.
You posted about this death of one of the writers from Suits, named Justin Peacock. He recently died, and this article. It says, sad news for Meghan Markle after the death of her Suits colleague. This was your tweet. This article about his death makes it about Meghan Markle because she was on the show. It admits they don't know if they even knew each other before turning into a puff piece about her time on the show.
Dude, they actually, in this article, they're like, okay, so this guy dies, right? And then in the article, they're like, she had to move all the way to Canada to film the show. I'm like, what the is going on here? It says, well, it's not confirmed that Meghan and the guy who passed away, his name's Justin Peacock, says, well, it has not been confirmed if Justin and Meghan worked closely together. It's highly likely that their paths may have crossed in table readings or on set. Meghan has spoken often about her time on the show, which she remembers fondly. Remembering the Suits for 2013, the 41-year-old told Marie Claire, I see Rachel as such a good friend, and when you play a character you love, it's so much easier. What does this have to do with the death of a guy who worked on your show? That's freaking weird.
I'm sure Meghan Markle is really torn up about this news, though.
Yeah, it's just, she doesn't care. Nobody could care less than Meghan Markle, I'm sure.
I would love to know what her co-stars thought of her behind the scenes, though.
You know, I mean, they're all vapid, right? So maybe they got along perfectly. Who knows? Like, I have no idea. Like, it's like all those actors are great. Gabriel Macht in that show is fantastic. The character of Donna, the character of Harvey, it's really, really good. But she ends up being one of the least. Like, I ended up watching the show more for how Harvey interacted with Louis and with Jessica and Mike, and Rachel was always kind of a secondary character for her. She did have a dad. Her dad was played by Wendell Pierce, though, who's really, really good. So she had like good like character actors to play her parents. But the show has a great tone. So I understand why it's making a resurgence.
And as the strike continues, people are going to keep going back to those shows in the early 2010s that they loved.
I don't know if the reason that it's popular again has much to do at all with her character.
No.
She is not the main character on that show by a long shot. So, look, it's weird how so much of the stuff that around her ends up being controversial. Like I said, the fact that that article got written, granted it was from like Hello, which is like some like I just remember reading it and being like, what the hell am I reading? This is insane. But, you know, it is what it is. I also like that the first comment says, wow, more of that worldwide privacy tour. There's a $20 one there from Nomification.
He said, are you a Real House fan? Question 1. What special symptom did Michael from Prison Break have before House treated him?
Michael from Prison Break, is that the one that... hold on, I'd have to...
Brett exposed as a fake House fan.
You'd have to give me the name of the actor. I've seen Prison Break, but I didn't watch it. I'd have to see who the actor was.
You failed the test.
I must have failed the test. That's okay. It wasn't lupus. I can guarantee you that. That's a House reference. There you
go. When I was in France, I literally saw a shop selling a shirt that said it's not lupus.
They love that. My favorite is the one where he they've cut House off from his prescription, and he's got his extra pills in a lupus textbook, and he's like, he pulls it out, and then Foreman's like, you hide your drugs in a lupus textbook. It's never lupus. Yep. Let's go to Superchats.
Waffle Sensei said about Alicia Keys' son, her child is a misogynist, and I'm glad Alicia exposed him. Cancel your children.
Well, yeah, like having kids, it's not good.
Teach them young.
Yeah.
Rob Lee is the one that asked you about Twisted Metal. I'll skip that one.
It's very, very good, and everyone should go watch it. Everyone should go watch it.
Shane H. Wilder said, having to watch Pinky Doll videos may not be hell, but you can see it from here. Yeah, it's my own personal hell, watching Pinky Doll videos for the rest of eternity. No, thank you. Disco Jensen said, PCC Brainstorm Group come up with scab scripts free of story constraints to sell to studios. Brett could definitely do that. I don't know if I would be cut out for it, but Brett is an expert casting director.
Also, the Wentworth, so it's Wentworth Miller's character, and that's later seasons, and I'm much less versed, and especially season 7 of House is a slog to get through. The season where he and Cuddy are dating, it's not good. Season 8's actually a decent return to form. I've become more of a fan of season 6 of that show after the fact, because it's the first season where he's off the Vicodin, and at first I thought that was kind of stupid because it played such a big part of the character's story. But it is interesting watching him learn how to kind of navigate the world without the pills that make all of the annoying people in the world more bearable to him. So.
This also might not have been a $20 super chat. This is in some other currency, so.
But it's the right color, so I assume it's the orange.
Trust it.
So we'll trust it. And also, he's pointing out the Wentworth Miller one. That was the episode where he's just giving money away. He's like a rich dude who just gives money away. I don't know the name of the condition, but he just gives House is trying to, if I remember correctly, House is trying to fund his team. Like, they've cut his budget in his department because of all the bad stuff he's done. And he's trying to fund his team. So he's trying to trick this patient who's sick into giving him the money for the department, which is extremely unethical.
Maybe you are a Real House fan.
All right. Let us move on then. Let's talk about this. Tell us about the vegan influencer.
Yeah. So there's this vegan influencer from Russia named Jana D'Art. And she's reportedly died of starvation and exhaustion in Malaysia after switching to an extreme diet where she would only eat exotic tropical fruits. She called herself not a frugivore, what is it, a fruitarian? She would only eat these fruits and nothing else. She was also on a raw diet, which means you don't cook anything, and that's supposed to make it healthier. That's news to me. But yeah, she reportedly died of an infection that was like cholera, and it was exacerbated by the fact that she was extremely malnourished. And I went and looked at her page and just scrolled down, and she used to have a more healthy look about her. She used to have like more fat in her face and looked like there was still life in her eyes. But if you look at the newer posts that were more recent, she's like chewing this food that it looks like she wants to gag, and she's increasingly like rail thin, just doesn't look like she
There's a picture of her, at least of her arm.
There was like a video of her trying to open one of these durian fruits, and she was like struggling. So, no matter how many posts to propagandize people into veganism that have, skinny girls in bikinis smiling and eating watermelons, the reality is that if you go to the extreme with it, you could be dying of slow suicide. Which is extremely sad. This woman was 39.
You did veganism for a while?
Yeah, I was vegan as a teenager for about 5 years, from when I was like 14 to 19. And I do consider myself, victim of that propaganda that was sold in like the 2015, 2016 era of like YouTube veganism. I watched all of these vegan YouTube channels that told I wanted to like have a healthier diet, and they told you, you need to just be eating like 15 bananas a day and tons of potatoes, and that's going to heal your body and detox you. When in reality, it just means you're not consuming the nutrients that keep you alive, especially B12.
And they mentioned that here.
Does anyone feel personally victimized by Freely the Banana Girl? Because I know I do. And a lot of these vegan YouTubers, they for some reason flock to South Asian countries like Malaysia or Thailand, where you can get more access to these exotic fruits like from the source. And they are a cult. I do consider them a cult because a lot of them know each other, and they become social media influencers to recruit other people into this ideology. Like, it becomes a lifestyle and a religion more than just a diet.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you wanted to ever stop, you're admitting defeat.
And it's like one way you can judge that is like people who live that lifestyle rarely have less than strong opinions about stuff like this. They have to have strong opinions on all things that come with it, right?
And if there's any vegan influencer who stops being vegan, they come after them.
So
they make videos about them, trashing them, saying, you were never a real vegan, you're fraud, blah, blah, blah. So they're totally disincentivized from thinking, maybe I don't feel so great on this diet and I need to stop because I'm having health issues, because you're going to get flamed on the internet for questioning the religion. I went and looked at some of her posts, and she was clearly indoctrinated. She was holding a bunch of these fruits and holding up her arm, and it just looks like she has zero muscle mass and zero body fat.
Here's a picture of it. I was like, people thought I was just showing the article earlier. I just want to show you a picture of her arm.
That's the picture I'm talking about, and that was from 2020. So she's been starving for a long time, and a lot of people think that she wasn't really vegan. She was kind of using it as a front for an eating disorder, which is common. She said, skinny but strong. Is it possible? Being thin doesn't mean weak. Being big and bulky doesn't mean strong. Recognize that we all come in different shapes and sizes, and that all people are inherently valuable regardless of the way they look.
This is a false. I hate when they bring this up, right? It's when they bring up, like, nobody's saying that being skinny or being fat diminishes your self-worth. That's a false equivalency. It's also really funny in the show in Twisted Metal. There's a side plot with these two security guards who get taken under, or one who gets taken under the wing of Sweet Tooth, and a guy makes fun of him for being fat, and he goes, first of all, weight doesn't equate to health, and like everybody just gives him this look like, are you serious, dude?
She said, just as being big and bulky with muscles that look like the Incredible Hulk doesn't necessarily mean that you're strong. That's not true. Being skinny doesn't mean weak either.
I mean, there are people who look bulky, who look bigger than they are, that aren't necessarily as strong as somebody
Sometimes they're
yeah.
like Liver King. Sometimes they're taking a lot of steroids that make them look stronger than they are. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that it's normal or healthy to look the way she looks. That's certainly not the case.
I mean, look at her hair, and I mean that was what stuck out to me was that she just like her hair
she's
looks
starting
like it's going
to
gray,
go
and it
gray
look
at
healthy.
39. And
I
in
feel
that
very bad for
that
her.
picture on the left, she just looks like way healthier and happier. And this was slowly killing her. And a lot of her friends were quoted in the article saying that they were talking to her during the time when she was approaching death's door, saying that she was running from treatment and she got coronavirus pretty instantly after she went back to Russia and has like a poor immune system. One friend said it was scary to look at her, to be honest. Her hands were thin like my 12-year-old sister's. They sent her home to seek treatment, but she ran away again. And when I saw her in Thailand, I was horrified.
There were
another one said her idol Starvation was causing her to melt before our eyes, but she believed everything was fine. Only her eyes and hair compensated for the dreadful sight of a body tortured by idiocy. Forgive me if that sounds harsh. That's very Russian to say that. And she just couldn't budge on this because it was her entire worldview that was going to collapse if she admitted she was in the wrong.
Yeah.
So it's kind of scary that a lot of people are still we're denying the truth. A lot of her followers are in the comments saying no, she died because there was some like chemicals in her fruit that poisoned her.
Thank you. I wasn't like it wasn't even that she was going gray at 39 to me. It was like the hair just genuinely looks unhealthy to me.
Yeah. But we're supposed to deny reality, right? Like there's this other YouTuber who is not vegan, but she clearly has a really, really severe case of anorexia named Eugenia Cooney. Some people in the chat might know who she is. And she's been on YouTube for a long, long time and has been severely emaciated the entire time that she's been a public figure. And for a long time, she just denied that there was an issue. And there were people like saying, stop commenting about how she looks. It's mean. And it's like, if it's mean to care whether somebody lives or dies, then I guess I'm a jerk. I'm still going to call it what it is.
Yeah.
And this Eugenia Cooney is like approaching her 30s now, and that's like a critical time when someone has an eating disorder that severe where they, are very likely to die at an extremely early age. But, you can't call that out because that would make you a cyberbully. Also, Jana publicized her weird cure for COVID. She said she didn't drink water or eat any food for 10 days to cure herself of COVID when she was bedridden. She said, I began to cure myself with dry fasting since for a long time I've been practicing this method. It can cure all ailments. The illness gradually began to recede. Already the days of dry hunger, and I was getting better every day. The most critical time is behind me, and I've overcome this disease despite my unconventional treatment, which many condemn. Well, it didn't end well for her.
No, it's very sad.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing is very, very sad.
And then there was the other situation that recently happened in Florida. There was this mom who was vegan and raising her son vegan, and he died at 18 months old because he succumbed to starvation due to a diet consisting solely of small amounts of fruits and vegetables. That's child abuse. When you also raise a dog or cat vegan, that's animal abuse. Call it what it is, I'm not saying that you can't be healthy or live into old age if you're vegan. Like, there are plenty of people who have.
No, there are. But
they cook their food and they eat things other than fruit. Yeah. And they don't starve themselves for 10-day periods. That's not a thing.
The thing that I've noticed is that they always like the people that I know that are vegan that are successful at it talk about how hard it is. Like not like hard as in like for them lifestyles, but like, you know, to be able to find what they need.
You
at
have
any
to
time,
actually
especially when
think about what
Yeah.
you eat
Yeah,
in order to
it's not easy.
be healthy on that diet. And I don't think it's the optimal way to live.
Yep.
You can do it, and you can be relatively healthy on that diet. I mean, Freely the Banana Girl obsessively posts her blood test results to show everyone that she's not deficient in anything, which is fine. Like, if you're healthy on a vegan diet, that's fine. But this woman clearly wasn't, but was relying on a bunch of true believers in this cult to defend her decisions, which were clearly insane. Also, a lot of her followers are refusing to believe that her eating choices led to her death, and they're claiming in her comment sections that she was killed by chemicals in the fruit she ate. Although her cause of death has not been confirmed, it seems to be that it was definitely her malnourishment that led to her death. And it shouldn't have happened.
No, it's very, very sad. And it's...
the cult of online veganism is crazy, because, like, even Nikocado Avocado was one of them. Nikocado was a vegan YouTuber before he became this laughingstock joke of a mukbang YouTuber. But he likely became a binge eater because he was vegan for years and was severely malnourished. And when he stopped being vegan, all of these vegan influencers trashed him and raked him over the coals for it, because you didn't toe the line. You didn't stay within the bounds of our ideology. It's scary.
Funny how that falls just in line with the same thing that's going on in Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
Fall in line, and you get the comfort of being part of this group, and it gives you an identity and it gives you some place to belong, but you're not allowed to deviate from the group in any way, shape, or form, lest the group turn its back on you and actually start to rake you over the coals for having any thought that breaks from the pattern.
I think another issue with this is like the mindset that you have to live and let live. And if someone appears to be happy on a certain lifestyle, or appears to, you know, be healthy and claims that they're enjoying themselves, living a certain lifestyle that might be self-destructive, you have to celebrate them. You have to you know, say that that's a good idea because they claim to be happy. But one of her friends said, I lived a floor above her, and every day I feared finding her lifeless body in the morning. I convinced her to seek treatment, but she didn't make it. And one of her posts on Instagram said, I see my mind and body transform every day. I love my new me and never move on the habits that I have always used. I eat simple food. And just because she's saying that she's happy and healthy, we're supposed to believe her and celebrate her.
This is kind
It's
of
just like Lizzo. Like, I'm not going to say that that's healthy just because someone claims to be happy and healthy on a certain lifestyle. It doesn't mean that's the truth. And it's more compassionate to just call it like it is.
Yeah, like in a lot of ways. I mean, I talk to you all the time about how I probably, like, you end up getting more crap because you actually care about what happens to these people, but because you tell them something they don't want to hear, they might not necessarily want to hear, you're going to get backlash for saying that. Whereas someone like me who just doesn't care what you do, I'm not going to necessarily get that same backlash, because I'm just going to be like, look, you make your own decisions. It's not my life. I'm not going to celebrate you, but I'm also not going to condemn you because it's not my business, right? So I'm going to be the one who gets like left alone because I just don't care. And you're going to be the one who actually gets pushback for it when you clearly care enough. The problem is they ascribe your desire to say this because you think it's bad for them as just mere nagging or some type of...
like a superiority thing.
Or to be rude when that's not necessarily your point.
Right. It's not just vegans, and it's not just when someone's fat that I'm going to call them unhealthy. If you're eating nothing but like raw beef liver and egg yolks all day and it's causing you to have gut problems, that's unhealthy too. That's extreme, and it's going to kill you if you keep going.
I'm sure Mary will...
There are plenty of influencers that do that shit, and I call it out the same way. Yeah. And it's not fat phobia when I say Lizzo is unhealthy, because I will call it unhealthy when it's a Eugenia Cooney or this, you know, raw food influencer too.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's go to Super Chats.
Is this from Shane H. Wilder? I knew vegan YouTubers were a cult when I saw the vegan teacher try to talk to a Catholic parish and then sneak a host out of the church.
What?
He did?
Did we ever get to the Shane H. Wilder? I think we missed a couple up top here. Did we not do the one about the?
I think we got through them.
Did we get the Shane H. Wilder one about Pinky Doll? Did I miss?
Yeah.
Okay. I was looking at something at the time. Okay,
That's crazy though.
Yes.
I never heard about that.
And
unhinged people.
Yeah.
Also, why would he be speaking at a Catholic parish? That's so weird. Mr. X said, I've got a pitch for a movie. Remake 50 Shades of Grey, but with Nicolas Cage playing everyone. It's called 50 Shades of Cage.
I'm down. Have you ever seen that meme of the lady on the plane with Nicolas Cage? And she says, like, I'm on the plane with this guy, and somebody's like, did he ask you to steal the Declaration of Independence with him? And he just looks sauced. Like, he just looks wasted. It's incredible.
Benrick said, did this super chat work? If so, then is The Purge good or bad?
I never saw any of... I've literally never seen any of the... If we're talking about the Purge movies, I've never seen any of the Purge movies.
I have. The first one is good. I would recommend that. The second one was terrible.
Okay.
And also kind of woke.
Okay. All right, let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back. We got a couple things. I saw Rick C in the chat earlier, I think, saying that he unsubscribed from us when we were talking about Barbie so much. Well, buddy... we're back because there's a couple of things in the news today. Warner Brothers...
It's not over yet.
It is not over yet. Warner Brothers apologizes after Barbenheimer sparks criticism from studio's Japan unit. Yeah, they're not happy.
There's an internal war going on at Warner Brothers over this
Yes.
because the official Barbie movie account has been liking and reposting memes of Barbenheimer, memes that supposedly, are insensitive to the, mass casualties at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And now the Warner Brothers Japan Barbie account has issued a statement about this, saying they find these posts very regrettable and say they lack consideration. We take this situation very seriously and are requesting the U.S. headquarters to take appropriate measures, and they have. I've already looked at the Barbie account, and they've deleted a lot of the posts that had Barbenheimer memes in them. But most of the Barbenheimer memes were done not by the official accounts, but just by people like selling merch on Redbubble and stuff like that, and good for them. I think that it's just like... they don't understand the Western sense of humor.
Yeah.
Because we're so like cynical and like irony on top of irony that we don't really think of it that way.
No.
And they, I guess, have made memes in retaliation.
I've got them. I've got the one that they're talking about.
One made a 9/11 Barbie meme.
That is a spicy one, but...
what do you think of this image? What you are doing is the same as this. Shame on you. Shion had reposted this and said, apparently Japanese Twitter is trying to do a how do you like it regarding Oppenheimer memes, but I don't think they understand American humor very well because LMAO. And I found it funny too.
Assault Clip 2A voter posted this down here.
Not gonna lie, if Japanese Twitter were posting these, I would find it funny.
Yeah, like...
they were also trending hashtag no Barbenheimer.
Yep. Well, I mean, like, I don't expect any other reaction from them, right?
And look at the reply as well. There's some strong Kenergy from George Bush there.
Yes. The other thing that people haven't been pointing out is anybody going to go see Oppenheimer on August 6th? Which is the anniversary of the...
Well, they haven't even released it in Japan.
No.
Is that because of the cultural sensitivities there? Because I don't understand that. The movie was critical of the U.S.
It was.
Intervening.
Especially the government apparatus that made it happen, right? If anything, the
whole movie is about like that moral question.
Yes. And it really is, it's a think piece about the character and the complexities that make up Oppenheimer and how he interacts with a very, very rigid government that is hell-bent on doing so.
And Cillian Murphy is like, he doesn't even know what a meme is, so he can't be blamed for this.
He doesn't know what any of this is going on, right?
Someone
but I guess
tweeted,
this is the dark side. This is the dark side of all this going on.
Someone tweeted, some intern at Warner Brothers is on their way to cause an international incident because they tweeted a kiss emoji at someone's photoshopped movie poster showing Barbie sitting happily on a smiling J.R. Oppenheimer's shoulder with a mushroom cloud in the background. And there was also a meme where Ryan Gosling was styling Barbie's hair into a mushroom cloud shape with a caption, "This Ken is a hairstylist."
Apparently so. Yeah, people.
And, it might be insensitive, yes, but, this is once again an example where globalism hits smack into the interests of capitalism.
Yeah, if this movie was only released in the U.S., we wouldn't, or in Western nations, we wouldn't have to have this discussion at all. But because cinema is now a global market in which Hollywood has to make their movies not just for here, but for everywhere else. You know what we can do we can make Barbie 2 can come out at the same day as the D-Day movie, and they can make memes around that, and then we'll call it even.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor. Sorry, Pearl Harbor. Not D. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll introspect a Pearl Harbor movie with Barbie 2 Electric Boogaloo, and all will be forgiven.
Another Twitter user retaliated, replying to the apology with a picture of Barbie sitting on the shoulders of Osama bin Laden in front of the burning buildings in the same style as the original posts. It was captioned, "Visiting the places from movie scenes" in Japanese, and "It's going to be a summer to remember." And it didn't hit the mark that they were going for. But I appreciate that other cultures don't have the same intensely cynical sense of humor that we have in the West.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't translate well in mass media. No Notifications said, correct. Final question for the win. Lin-Manuel Miranda's best work was in House Season 6.
Yeah,
what was the name of his
remember.
character? Also, he said that 200 Swedish kroner is about $19 USD. So I guess that counts.
I can't remember the name of his character. Yeah, his character, he goes to he's in the asylum with House. And he ends up getting out of the asylum, and House helps him get his birth certificate, track down his birth certificate, because he can't like go visit his family because he can't travel because he doesn't have proof that he's a U.S. citizen. But I can't remember the name of the character. He's got a couple episodes.
Fake House fan.
He raps to House, and it's just really, really funny. Like having to watch like Hugh Laurie as the character put up with this very, very annoying person.
Lin-Manuel Miranda just playing himself.
Very, very much
basically.
just playing Lin-Manuel Miranda, rapping to House while they're in the asylum together is gold. But I can't remember the name of the character off the top of my head. But he's fantastic in that show. But yeah, I'm a fake fan for not remembering the name of the. I'm hoping somebody doesn't say it in the chat because I want to now like sit here and think about it because I don't want to look it up. But I don't want to be too distracted.
Another person said, "A summer to remember that the Barbie film team and Hollywood, more than 200,000 deaths by the end of 1945 and 500,000 so far by 2 atrocious bombs, are something they feel comfortable joking about to promote their precious summer blockbuster."
It's not really a summer blockbuster in the same way. It's more of a character study in the vein of a summer blockbuster that just got a big budget.
I guess Barbie hasn't released in Japan yet either. Yep. Barbie is getting released on August 11th.
I'm surprised that they're releasing it in Japan.
Why?
I guess. I mean, I wouldn't want it. Like if I lived in Hiroshima, if I had family that was in Hiroshima or Nagasaki, I'm not sure I would want the movie coming out.
No,
here.
Barbie, not.
Oh, Barbie. Okay, yeah. Well, then.
But I don't think it would be an issue if they released Oppenheimer in Japan either. Yeah. I think that it's nuanced enough, and it's not some kind of like war propaganda movie that celebrates what happened.
Yeah.
So they would probably appreciate it. And Oppenheimer has not been given a release date in Japan, but it will most certainly be set for what is seen as a respectful interval after the memorial service for the atomic bombings. Yeah,
there's no way it's going to come out before the everything that happened with. They're not going to release it before August 6th. That's not going to happen. Do you think this is one of those things that it is just kind of further proof that we can't really trust cinema and movies in the global market to ever get away with not offending someone? Like, you're always going to end up offending someone.
It's inevitable to generate some ill will when you're trying to mix cultures.
It's always going to happen.
And
but
sell a product to all cultures not everyone is going to receive it the same way.
Do you think that there was a way they could fix it? Because I don't think there's a way you can fix it now. It's
Also,
kind
one of the
like,
reasons they were leaning so hard into the memes and marketing the movie that way on social media is because of the strikes, where they weren't allowed to promote their own movie. So maybe this wouldn't have happened without the SAG strike.
Character's name's Alvy. I wouldn't have remembered that, so he wins on that one. I wouldn't. I knew it ended in a Y or an IE, but I couldn't remember the name of the character, so I lost that round. But yeah, like it's and we saw both of them. But if I was in Japan, I wouldn't begrudge, or if I was an American, I wouldn't begrudge the Japanese people not wanting to go see this movie. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about instead how Barbie's ruining things right here in America, shall we?
HuffPost released this article saying that Barbie is ending relationships left and right. It is waking up women and empowering them to end their toxic relationships with men who are Kens instead of Allens.
See, I just was told it's not that deep. Go see the movie. It's not that deep. It's apparently that deep.
Right. It's not that deep when it's convenient to say that, so you don't criticize the movie. But it is that deep when you're supposed to be wearing pink and bleaching your hair and supporting your GF to go to this movie. But yeah, now they're calling the male feminists well-behaved boyfriends Allens, and the misogynist boyfriends who don't like Barbie are the Kens.
Do you notice right off the bat, well-behaved is something that a guy is literally never going to be
supposed
allowed
to be.
to say.
No, I mean, that's not something that women are even attracted to.
But nor would a guy would be raked over the coals now for saying his girlfriend is well-behaved.
Of course.
Yeah. It's not exactly the most...
no one in a healthy relationship wants to be with someone who will do anything they tell them to.
So it says, this is from Visionary T, says, did anyone watch Barbie and suddenly want to break up with their boyfriend, or was that just me? Are you crying? You're just a guy, and you'll never understand how difficult it is to be a woman in a man's world. There's this attention to detail that a lot of men don't have.
And then she said, let me add to this so the incels don't waste their breath. It's your prerogative to feel whatever way you want to. It's mine to continue to live without knowledge of your miserable, uneducated existence. Read a book, call your mother, and speak to a licensed professional.
God, they love therapists. They love therapists. It's their favorite thing.
Another one said...
Jonah Hill's like, I will go speak to a therapist, and then I will use it against you.
Another one said, I got unmatched on Hinged after I told a guy that Barbie is an experience and Oppenheimer is just a film.
I do love that in the age we live in now, Barbie is the deep and meaningful movie, and the movie about the man who invented the atomic bomb is the one that's just a movie.
I like that they think they're turning the tables on these guys, because a lot of women have had the experience where a guy wants to mansplain to them about a Tarantino film or whatever that is not, it's not made for women. It's not meant to appeal to a female audience. And it's the same way that they made fun of the Kens in the movie for trying to explain The Godfather to the Barbies.
Here's the problem.
The difference is that, you know, as you were saying, when guys do this, when they try to explain these movies in detail to women and, you know, hold the back of their neck, it's because they feel strongly about it and they want to share something they care about with another person, and it's a way of connecting, however ineffectual it is. That's
Also,
the attempt that's being made.
A guy would never break up with a girl because she didn't like Fight Club. That's not a thing.
Hopefully not. I'm sure it's happened once or twice, maybe, in the world.
That's never happened in history.
I mean, it depends on the guy, because like sometimes men will, you know, try to explain one of these movies and then intentionally make you feel stupid for not enjoying it as much as they do, and that's wrong. But usually what they're doing is just sharing something that they like with someone they like, and it's, again, not that deep.
It's why I got
and
really
that's why
excited.
I didn't like the part in Barbie where the Kens were, you know, mansplaining The Godfather and singing Matchbox 20 to the Barbies, and we're supposed to have this disdain for the Kens for doing this, when really it's just because they want the approval of the Barbies. They want to feel respected by the Barbies. And I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, what's so patriarchal and oppressive about that? It's just, it's a disdain for any type of connection and vulnerability between the sexes that apparently is affecting people's real relationships. I mean, this is proof, if you needed any, that the media people consume absolutely does affect their real life choices and their real life perceptions. And it is that deep. However much they tell you it's not that deep, it is for them. Another TikTok said, my boyfriend and I watched the Barbie movie together, and in the middle of it, when he saw how Barbie was being treated versus Ken, he looked at me and said, I'm sorry, babe. When I asked him why, he said, because I didn't realize how cruel the world was to women. And right there, I knew how blessed I was to have this man. And all the comments are complaining about how their boyfriends aren't, well-behaved Allens. One said, my boyfriend doesn't want to go with me, heartbreak emoji. Another said, any man who doesn't want to watch Barbie with you doesn't deserve you, queens. Another one said, that's such a healing moment. Having a man finally get a glimpse of what you go through. I love that he wasn't defensive, but was apologetic.
They love that
they want you to apologize to them.
And be subservient.
Oh.
Do you remember the trans man who was a woman and became a man and then committed S-word?
I'm sure there are many
sewer slide.
Cases of that.
Because she transitioned to a man and realized that nobody gives a crap about what happens to you. Because the man's world that they're talking about is the top 1% of men that make up 0% of the people you or I will ever actually interact with on a daily basis. The men who make up the man's world are the CEOs and the businessmen that make the world the way it is. That's not the people you work with. That's not the construction workers, the storekeepers.
Yeah, when Ken went into the real world, he wasn't interacting with homeless men on the street. He was interacting with the CEOs.
No, and I will say that there's nothing wrong with the idea of understanding that you there are unique characteristics to you as a woman that make your life more challenging than would make my life in certain ways, and there's ways in life that make my life as a dude more challenging than would make your life, right? And
Sure.
That's a big part of how all of this goes. And one of the reasons I enjoy having these discussions is because we're not taking hardline stances on a lot of this, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of money to be made from people who want to weaponize these discussions against one another. All the people, I mean, so much of social media is that, right? It's people having these discussions in very, very loud, flourishing ways that denigrate just how nuanced they're actually supposed to be. Meaning that it's a woman talking passionately about all the things that affect her, and that's fine. But then the men come in the comments and say, like, look, this also happens to men. This also happens to me. And then men will have the same thing. There's guys who will talk about all the ways in which their life is difficult, and then women will come in and say, like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
You're like
for anybody who watched America Ferrera's monologue in Barbie about how hard it is to be a woman these days and saw a kernel of truth in it that they could relate to, all of that was undermined by the fact that it was used to divide men and women further. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there are some things about living as a woman that make it harder. There are things about living as a man that make life harder. And it doesn't need to be a competition, and we don't need to do the Impression Olympics about it. But that's sort of what is causing people to now end their relationships after watching this movie.
Let's watch some of these, shall we?
Sure.
This is the one you sent me first. Here we go. She says,
like the same shit that he has always done. And I was like, you know what? One thing that Barbie showed me was that I'm not gonna let a man treat me like shit. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm done. And yeah, so I broke up with him. He never thought that I was gonna do that. And so yeah, thank you, Barbie, for empowering me, for giving me the confidence, for making me realize that I deserve better.
your parents didn't do their job.
You know, I'm amazing and I deserve better.
Her parents didn't do their jobs. Not to be rude, but if it took a Greta Gerwig movie to help you realize that, I guess that does speak
Telling people
to the
that
power of
they-
cinema, right? It speaks to
Yeah.
the power of cinema that, like, assuming that she's, like, that this isn't hyperbole and this guy was awful to her, and that's what this movie did. This movie showed her that she's enough and Ken is not Ken-ough. That, I guess, then the movie did its job. But
telling people that they deserve better or that they shouldn't settle for less than X, Y, and Z is going to make a lot more people end up alone and dissatisfied.
You guys.
Oh yeah, they're like, that's one of the big things that I always see these. It's kind of like it goes along when they call everything trauma and they call everyone who doesn't love that who's ever been mean to them a toxic narcissist. Another one that goes along with that is like, you don't never settle for less than you deserve, which is a great sentiment on its head, but not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to practice because the world just doesn't exist in slogans like that, and usually leads to bad things. Here we go.
I just realized that the Barbie movie is a litmus test. If you go see it with a guy who's like, Ken did nothing wrong, patriarchy good, then you know that you need to get rid of him. I thought that plot twist in the villain arc was so weird, but Greta's trying to save us all through Barbie.
There's a $20 one there from Gordon Shumway.
That was painful. Gordon Shumway said, so let me get this straight. A woman watches Barbie and is about to become insufferable, but first she breaks up with her boyfriend. Tell me how he is losing in this scenario.
Fair point.
A lot of dodged bullets here, for sure.
That's a fair point.
Another TikTok said, the best part about the Barbie movie is that my boyfriend proved to me more than ever that he's the best. He dressed in pink. He got all the jokes and the moving parts. Afterwards, he discussed with me what a masterpiece this movie is and how hard it must be to be a woman. I'm so lucky to have him.
I would ask the question, does she ever acknowledge to him that there are inherent struggles with being a man that deserve to be pointed out? What are the movies that come out now that discuss the inherent struggles of being a guy? Because I don't know what those movies are.
Maybe the He-Man movie is going to address that.
But that got canceled.
No,
so
oops.
That's
not going to happen anymore. Well, alternatively, there was a Reddit thread from a guy saying that watching Barbie led him to break up with his girlfriend after he realized he needed to be less dependent on his girlfriend for validation, just like Ken. He needed to realize that he was Kenough. He said,
good for him, bro.
Believe it or not, this realization shook me. I had been clinging to the comfort and support she provided, blind to our mounting issues. So his takeaway from it is that he's Kenough and he doesn't need his Barbie.
Backfire, Uno reverse. Take that, you
Yeah,
incel.
he hit the Uno reverse on these women.
Got him.
Don't settle for less, Kens.
Well, hey, that's what it should be, right? Like, he's got to go out in the world. He's got to make his own way. And he doesn't need his pesky girlfriend there making him go to see Barbie movies. Like, there's actually probably a great movie or short film to be made about a girl who's been planning to go take her boyfriend or husband to go see the Barbie movie, and then it backfires at the end and he doesn't understand what it means to be, how difficult it is to be a woman. Instead, he understands that he needs to exist without her if he's going to become all he needs to be. Thank you, Greta Gerwig.
Thank you,
for
Greta.
doing that for society.
Truly a humanist film, as she said in that interview.
It truly is. We got one more to watch here.
Okay.
Like the Barbie movie is going to start a new trend in dating. And I love that. Because for the last decade, how many women have had to go on a date with a dude and have to sit there and listen to the nuance about Fight Club, about American Psycho, and about, I don't know, any Tarantino movie ever created. And now it's just like, okay, and you get to ask him, what do you think about the Barbie movie? And watch those wheels turn to see that response. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
See, there's an inherent adversarial nature to this type of statement. When I like for instance, yesterday, I'll give you an example of somebody who's like someone like me. I'm not in a committed relationship, but I turned to Twitter and started singing the praises of the Twisted Metal series yesterday. Not because I was mansplaining to Twitter, but because I wanted to share with people something that I was growing to become passionate about.
Trucker and Tourist said, all of these positive boyfriend reactions from these women make me question these guys, 1, existence, and 2, their masculinity. Super cringe. 10 out of 10 wouldn't be friends with these dudes.
And these guys are going to grow to be very unhappy in their relationship because
it's a happy wife, happy life type of guy.
What they mean by this is they say their positive reactions were completely bowing down to their girlfriends and acknowledging their struggles, right? Which is a real thing, but these are conversations you should be having outside of a Barbie film. Like, you should be able to communicate in a way that allows you to tell your husband or boyfriend that life as a woman is not easy before you get to this stage. Otherwise, maybe you don't know if you're marrying the right guy or not. Like, if he can't, these men, like, if your men aren't doing this, they're showing a stunning lack of empathy or sympathy.
Yeah,
right?
They shouldn't need a Greta Gerwig movie to unlock empathy in their system.
Thank you. And look, at the end of the day, it's party time. At the end of the day, what I've kind of come to realize is that no matter whether it's if this was a film about men, made by men, about the struggles of men, I also wouldn't expect the women watching the movie to really have it resonate with them either. One of the reasons identity politics is a losing strategy when it comes to movies, Barbie obviously being seemingly the exception lately, given all the money it's making, in storytelling, is that you want to reach the most amount of people you can in the shortest period of time. Mm-hmm. Something like this, stories like this, they don't speak to the entirety of the population. Now, larger themes can speak to the entirety of the population. The desire to be loved, the hope that one would be courageous at a time when courage is required. Those are universal themes and ideas that everyone can aspire to or want to experience. When you break it down by gender or race or sexuality, it may be an evocative story to somebody watching because they identify with that group, but you're limiting your audience severely. Obviously, Barbie is a little bit different because it's making a crap ton of money. But in general, this is the exception and not the rule.
Yeah.
To that.
Well, one male psychotherapist quoted in this article thinks that the Barbie movie was actually very sympathetic to the struggles of men. He said, "I think the film is ultimately very empathetic to men and male challenges rather than criticism of men. For instance, at their core, most men want attachment to other humans, love, connection, security, recognition, just like women do. What the movie shows is how these human needs get miscommunicated often by men because men haven't been socialized to identify their own needs or communicate them honestly with women. And when those efforts aren't successful, it can lead to acting out in ways that Greta Gerwig showed, hypermasculine aggression, dominance, and stereotypical behavior like retreating to a beer fridge in the man cave." So once again, you're still blaming men for their own struggles and blaming men for women's struggles.
And you're not allowed your own coping techniques.
I mean, if your coping technique is drinking, that's probably not a good thing. But you're not recognizing that men and women have a lot of the same needs at their core, but a lot of different ones too. You're not recognizing maybe the Ken's need for respect and admiration from the Barbies, which is what they used Kendom, they used the patriarchy to get.
Yeah.
When they're explaining The Godfather to the Barbies, it's because they want to feel like the Barbies find them important and think their interests are cool and that they admire them. Mm. And that's not the same need that a woman would have. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's not just, we're all pink on the inside, like for race or gender, like not all people are the same and we don't all have the same needs and desires. Yeah. Men and women are as different as two human beings can get. Yep. Yep. We have a lot in common. We probably have more in common than we think, but we also are inherently different and it doesn't get us anywhere to deny that reality. Let's go to Super Chats though. Tom Bombaderp said, "I love it when you guys mention vegans. It sets off Doll in the chat, which is always entertaining. This makes up for the Barbie segments. Thanks again."
Doll, I will say that I very much appreciate that you take the time to watch, even when you inherently disagree with us. It's something to be said for somebody who's willing to engage regularly with perspectives they disagree with. So thank you for watching. I do appreciate that.
DD Megadoodoo97 said, "As far as scab scripts, they should remake Wilder Napalm and make it more of an action flick. That movie had a lot of potential. Still liked it, even though it was about a firefighter and a carny." Is carny a slur?
I don't know if it is. Is that what that's considered now? I don't think so.
Matt's S-Box Emporium said, something I will not repeat. Shane H. Wilder said, "Barbenheimering will continue until morale improves."
Yeah, guys, the Barbenheimer topics will keep happening until everyone in the chat agrees.
Get on board.
Get on board.
or get left behind. The Last of My Kind said, look up Frank Caliendo as Robin Williams doing The Wizard of Oz. All is one man show. It's comedy gold. He also does the best George Bush impression.
Yeah, I follow Frank Caliendo on Instagram. He does a lot of great impressions. He does these things where he'll do like a saying and he'll do it as like 7 or 8 different actors. He does a really good Robert Downey Jr. as well.
Okay. Hiroshima Otaru said Land Invasion of Japan would have been a horror show.
Yep.
I'm not an expert on that. Benrick5 said, just show small soldiers for 1 week. Men will realize what girls do to Barbies. Haha.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
What is that about?
Well, we'll watch it sometime. It's a cartoon. It's an animated movie. It's a long time ago. I saw it when I was a kid.
What is it about?
Let's go through the synopsis here. That was
you don't remember?
No, I was like it was a really long time ago when I watched that movie. I was a
Is it about toy soldiers?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, a Weird Barbie was supposed to show what girls do to their Barbies.
Yeah.
I cut all of the hair off of some of my Barbies.
While missile technology is used to enhance toy action figures, the toys soon begin to take their battle programming too seriously. Came out like around the same time as Toy Story too.
I just remember that, yeah, the toy soldiers from Toy Story. Tom Bombaderp said, Hollywood's habit of making bad movies has drastically increased my booze budget. I'd like to thank the Academy and the Screenwriters Guild.
Thank you.
High Voltage 75 said, is this Knuff for a third Crisis Party?
It was almost Knuff, so thank you very much for that, buddy.
Thank you. Tacti Platy said, can you explain the term dusty? I'm old Gen Xer. Did I say dusty?
You said dusty.
When?
Earlier in the show.
About what?
Or was it yesterday you said dusty? I think you might have said dusty yesterday. Guys,
I don't remember what that was in reference to. But what I'm thinking of is... Sprinkle, the YouTuber that talks about how men should be providers, and if they're not providers, then they're dusties. That's what she calls them.
Well, now in the 90s we called them scrubs, Mary,
or scrubs,
because TLC was a thing. The funny thing about that is the meme now that like they were like going through bankruptcy at the time. They're like, how dare these women like call men scrubs when they were financially insolvent?
Oh, but like. I don't think that...
How dare they hate on men for carpooling? That's the real problem.
Destiny's Child wasn't...
It was TLC that sang that
TLC, but also Destiny's Child with like Bills.
Yeah, but these
are rich women.
I'm not ragging on them. They were clearly doing well financially. TLC was not at the time.
And Jennifer Lopez, too.
Yes.
Shane H. Wilder said, almost like the differences in men and women were designed for a reason, like they are what make us compatible. But what the hell do I know?
Well, that's what you have when society goes to war with the differences between men and women and pretend as if we're all the same.
Yep.
Because we're not. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Please, please, please do that. We're growing. We love it. Thank you so much for that, guys. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. Guys, if you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and X/Twitter/whatever the hell it is, at Brett Dastovic on both of those platforms. This show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Later. So what Barbie topic should we torture them with tomorrow?